Welcome to the WellPlayed DLC podcast, Australia's juiciest gaming podcast. My name is Adam Ryan, and this week I'm joined by the illustrious, the milky Zach Jackson.
Why am I milky, by the way? But hello, evening.
Reviews milk, Googles it, wonders why he's called Milky, and the ever-present James Wood.
That's the most I can aspire to be is present. Yeah. Hi.
You're here, and 90% of
least-
your grade is just based on you attending
Showing
school,
up.
so
At least
you're
you're not
nailing
milky.
it so far.
At least you're not curdling in this heat.
That's true.
It's about
true.
right. Zach, how are you this week, and how have you been dealing with the heat? Because it's been a scorcher.
This heat can suck my white milky ass, man, because it's fucked up. Like, it's just too much. Like, like, I like 24 to like 27. Like, I'm that's fine. I can deal with that. I'll go to the beach. I'll walk outside. I'll work outside. But 38, just fuck off. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it.
My favorite is what it did today. It was cooler today, but it rained for about 20-30 minutes, and then cloud cover, and it got hot again, so it was just muggy, and it felt like you were walking into an oven. It's just, it's my favorite thing. Love it so much. But James, you live in, I don't know, a cool part of the country. South Australia does weird shit. Is it better in your neck of the woods?
We've been cooking for a few days now. The cool
Nice.
change has slowly rolled in, but it hasn't actually penetrated the house yet. So I am currently like 80% sweat.
Yeah,
It's
how
my-
fucked
yeah,
is...
I love that. It's like, oh, good, it's cooling down, and then by the time your house like kind of gets to the same temperature, it's getting warm again anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Yeah, you love to see it. Crack a window, it'll do fuck all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like a
it's
fan
great.
just circulates the hot air. You're like,
Yeah,
Just
but I
pushes
find
it around.
as long as it's moving, I don't feel as like panicked by it. Where if it's stagnant hot air, I start sweating profusely because I can't escape.
You're
How do
just
you-
it's all in the
nervous
brain.
about.
Yeah.
how do you deal with
Yeah.
sleeping and like noise? Like I'm a very light sleeper, and any kind of
Ooh.
like repetitive noise. So we used to have a fan. Like we spent good money on this. I don't know, like $150, $190, whatever it was. Like on this fan. It's a Sunbeam. It's in the fucking next to me at the moment
Disgusting.
because, but then it started this like click. Like when it would like do the turn, it would go click, click, and I was like, "Fuck that!" Like, I'd rather be hot than fuck.
I could picture you in bed just staring at the ceiling, hearing
Absolutely,
the, like,
and that's what it
hyper-focus
was.
on the clicks.
And you know what I was doing? I'd fucking time it. I'd be like, "Okay, how long do it click?" And I couldn't fucking. Oh no! But so, every other room in the house we put aircon in. So I got, but to get an additional unit in where I work from, we would have to put a bigger bad boy on the roof, and they were like, and it's just like, sorry mate, like living
Oh,
room,
don't worry about him. He's fine.
living room, bedroom, and then her study, which is potentially maybe in future the baby room. They got priority, and I just get the fucking Sunbeam, the old clicky Sunbeam over there with the fucking
clicky.
cordyceps. Fucking fucking hell. But yes, like, so we have a room shut
shit.
at night, and we have the aircon in our bedroom, and then when I go out to take a fucking slash at 2 a.m, oh my god, those hallways are demonic, mate.
It reminds you you're alive. It's good for you. It's good for you. Look, we can't be talking about the weather all night because we've got a big show. We don't, but hey. What have we got coming up? We're going to talk about our most anticipated games of 2025, of which there are quite a few. We're going to revisit Tales of Iron for the full review. We've got a couple of review shout-outs, maybe some Kingdom Come, maybe some Civilization, but that's upcoming. James, before we get there, I would like you to tell me, what have you been playing in the last week or 2 weeks that we've been apart?
It's funny that you asked that because I just had a moment being like, what the fuck is he throwing to me for? I've completely forgotten how we do this entire show. It is out
It's
of my
because you forgot
mind
to do the run
entirely.
sheet.
Exactly. Yeah, I need that run sheet to remind me. Video games. I've been playing some video games. Reviewed Civ 7 for press starts. That's kind of been the majority of my time because that game is a lot. It's
Dense.
Civilization. Yes, very, very dense. But for fun, I've been playing Stardew Valley again. Actually, oh, Zach has a question.
I have a Civ 7 question.
Oh,
Yeah, it's all right. It's an easy one. So when you start your civilization,
yeah.
do you
Nice.
get to pick race or whatever you want to call it, like time or something?
What?
So okay, you know when you when you play like
Fair follow-up question.
when you play like Age of Empires, right? And
I haven't ever played Age of Empires.
Okay, but
Oh, like an era
okay.
or time period.
yeah,
Is that what
yeah,
you're
like you
after?
be ancient Egyptians, you can be
Oh
the
yeah.
rest.
So in the new one, they've put it into like hardline ages. There's like antiquity, exploration, and modern, and so you can start at any of those if you want to
Right.
shake it up. But antiquity is usually where you begin, and you begin with like I was like ancient Rome or ancient Egypt or whatever,
Yeah,
and then that
okay.
changes into
Yeah,
other cultures.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
so that's what I.
So beautifully and eloquently
Oh,
put
very
on the
much.
table here tonight. Yeah. But no, yeah, Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley has been the thing. Me and the partner have booted up a little farm to create a little space together. It's been very cute. I've never done the co-op in that game before. I played like at least 200 hours of that thing when it first launched back in the day. And so now it's been like a fun thing to return to and see everything they've changed and added. And it's still Stardew Valley, which is to say it's still a fucking great time. So
Yeah, nice. It's a good
Do you
time
find
seeing
that-
old Stardew.
Do you
It
find
is.
it cozy, James?
Fuck yourself.
I know. I thought you might say that.
Zach, tell us, what have you been playing in the last fortnight? Anything for yourself?
For pleasure, a little bit of Payday 3. Still fucking. I'm really digging the new DLC. And now James's tongue is doing a workaround in his
No.
mouth. But you have not uninstalled a game faster after Homefront than Payday 3. But
Yeah, no, Homefront was a new record. That's true. Yeah.
But no, like yeah, I'm really really enjoying that. We managed to do me and the big she-gog. We managed to do a heist without being seen
Hey.
all the way
Wow.
through. A bank heist too, like
Okay.
so
Proper
pretty good.
heist.
Been playing more Silent Hill 2. I'm into the prison at the moment. Anna and I've been playing through that.
You're almost
So-
done. Man. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm kind of not.
Mm.
I'm just over it a little bit now. It's just,
It's a little long in the tooth. Yeah.
and it's very, and this is going to be very weird because I feel like as someone who likes Resident Evil, I should be very much aware that this is the same kind of thing, but it's all the same. I feel like it's very much you're walking through this thing, you hit these people with the heels, some nurses and stuff.
Mhm.
But I think and I'm sick, like, we're at this point in the prison, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but we're both sick to death. Anna, mostly, is sick of the fucking dark. Get us out of the dark. Sick of not being able to see, like,
Mm.
just light that bitch
That
up.
prison
you
in
know what I mean?
particular is like pitch black.
Yeah. Well, and because I think the time before that, you're like the it was at the hospital? No, it's the apartments.
Have you
hospital.
done
Fuck.
the rotating box?
The
Does that ring any bells for you?
Rotating box.
Because I can't remember
No.
if that was before or after the prison. It might be after it.
The rotating box. We're doing the measuring the
Yeah,
balancing
yeah,
at the moment.
Yeah, no, then I think you fall down to the box. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Never mind. I take it back.
But no, it's pretty good, pretty solid. Very a lot more action focused than I recall, but I don't
Are you
really
still playing
recall
as normal?
much of it. Yeah, just the standard default.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you played the original, yeah?
Not all of it. I played little bits and pieces of it. So I don't know. I don't think I ever finished it. No, like I don't think I was ever witness to the end of it. The only one I remember finishing, oddly enough, is The Room on PS2,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
which
okay.
which I've still got somewhere. I've still got my copy of that here.
It's in a disc wallet somewhere.
Absolutely. Other than that, there's a lot of FC25 when I get the chance just to play a game or two there. Currently 15 points clear on top of the table in League One. Shout outs
Oi,
to me.
oi.
Hey.
And then just
Let's push for
games
16.
for games for content is all.
Lovely stuff. It's a good little mix you got going there, though.
Mm.
Diversity, you know?
I do like to
Uh,
mix it up. DEI.
Of course you do.
I think that's what it is.
What about myself? I was sick last week, so the Steam Deck got a bit of a beating. I've been playing shitloads of Dungeons of Hinterberg. I think I'm
My
about
man.
3/4 of the way through now. I've done, because I think there's 25 dungeons, and I think I've done 17 or 18.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more like through line story than I expected when I started. There's a kind of like a plot bubbling under the surface that I'm kind of digging. There's a little kind of mystery to the whole deal. That game fucking bangs. I'm unbelievably happy with it. Having a really good time.
How
I
much did you
finished
pay for it again?
like $20, I think.
Yeah, it's a fucking
steal.
good game, and
It is.
the mixture of the it's 4 worlds, isn't it? The 4 different
Yep.
worlds, and the different like powers, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
It really does break it up, I think.
Absolutely. The way that they do the difficulty with the different dungeons means you're always bouncing between them as well. The game's awesome. I'm absolutely in love with it. Speaking of games that I'm in love with, I finished Death's Door. I think that is phenomenal. I
Great.
played the other game that developers made, Titan Souls, which was vastly different but had kind of a similar vibe. It was like one of those little 2-button 2-hour adventures. But Death's Door is fucking phenomenal, and I loved it right up until the end. A little bit emotional at the end too. Wasn't expecting that. I also played and finished very quickly Thank Goodness You're Here. That game is fucking dope. It's so good. It's like just distilled British humor put into a 2-hour experience. It's unbelievably good, and I'm sad that I didn't play it before we did voting, but it is what it is. And then lastly, a little bit of Eternal Strands, because I was sick and on the couch and had nothing better to do, and I wanted something to tide me over till Avowed. So, it was $40. I had my credit card nearby. These things happen. But yeah, that's about me for the fortnight. Zachary?
Well, let's segue somewhat. I'm going to commandeer a little bit here, because you have dabbled ever so slightly for something that we will, the listeners and viewers will see at a later date. But you have dabbled very, very briefly.
I have dabbled, and it's a good segue that you've made there, because yes, I have played a little bit of Tales of Iron 2 Whiskers of Winter. I'd say maybe I've played maybe an hour. I essentially got through the tutorial and beat the first proper boss, not like the tutorial boss or you're meant to die to this boss, the first like actual challenge of the game. And it's far further than I got than the first game, which I think I played about 20 minutes of. And I'm vibing with this one a whole lot more. But Zach, I think last we spoke, we kind of touched on a bit of a preview, but you've played and finished it now, despite its difficulty. Let's talk review. Give us your final thoughts on Tales of Iron 2.
All right, so we won't spend too long because I have previewed this game twice already. So if you haven't heard the premise, it's set after the events of the first game. You play as a rat named Arlo, your father, who is the Warden of the Wastes, I think is the title. He is murdered by a group of bats called the Darkwings, and off you go trying to avenge your father's death. And from there, you kind of go out into this world, which is... and Adam, I hope you can back me up here a bit, because you've only seen it a tiny bit, but this world is stunningly brought to life with this just incredible medieval fairy tale storybook, like pop-up book style art. It's just it's incredible, this art style, and I really hope that at the end of the year, people do kind of give it some flowers, because I think we often overlook these games that came out, especially very, very early, but also these kind of not lesser, I don't mean that in a negative way, but these kind of indie sort of titles. I think this art style is, I think it's the hook. It's the main hook here. If you're not a Souls person, I think.
Yeah, it's almost got like a Paper Mario kind of feel to it, or like way more detailed, and a like higher quality, but it has like the foreground and background. It just kind of looks like, I don't know, like the background of like a marionette show or something. I don't. It's exceptional though. It's the art style's fantastic.
I will have to go back through my like the Tales of Iron review, but when I spoke to the developers way back then, they mentioned it's like some like Czech, maybe it's not Czech, but it's like European block inspired. Anyway, but there's
Okay.
in my first review, it's all about that. But anyway, the art style is fantastic, and you go off into this world, and you question again. I can't remember. I probably asked this last time, but has anyone read Redwall or know of Redwall?
No.
It's basically
Negative.
a very, very popular book series. Probably not so much now because it's quite old, and I think the author is dead. But this series is like anthropomorphic. I fucking never can say that word properly, but it's like
No, you got it.
rats. It's like rat warriors, fucking badgers, fucking salamanders. It's this whole world brought to life with all these shit that I'm into. Like I love just rat fucking warriors. I don't know what it is, but this feels like that because you go off into these different parts of the world, and there's in one of them which is called very, very smartly put, it is a nest minister, and it's like all these owls, and they're in like parliament, where like a group of owls is a parliament. It's very well done, but the colors and stuff is very warming and inviting. And then you go to this like other area called the Rift, which is like the frogs, and it's like swampy and marshy, and there's other areas where I think the other one that stood out for me is it's called the Warren, and it's like an icy kind of village where the rabbits are. And it's just it's all those kind of characters, and sort of, well, not characters, but animals sort of humanized in this kind of way. And it's a 2D side-scrolling Souls-like action game with very, very challenging combat. I think once you learn the systems, that's same for any game, but once you kind of get used and get comfortable with the parrying system, and how long that parry window kind of is, combat does become a bit easier. Also, tip, because I didn't do this at first, because I'm notorious for not doing this, but you need to be upgrading your shit, man. Like, you need to be using the most up-to-date fucking weapons. And also your health. Also, here's a very embarrassing question. I got the developer on Discord, and I sent him a message being like, dude, how do I upgrade my health? I haven't upgraded it at all. So I'm basically, like, I'm 80% of the way. I'm at the final area of the game, and I haven't upgraded my health, which is actually quite a pretty good fucking effort. I've persisted this fucking long. And he goes, oh yeah, it's in like your main base. And I'm like, but in my defense, there's two people that are actually side by side. So when I tried to interact with this guy originally, it actually interacted with a guy next to him. So I just was like, okay, he's not anyone. But anyway, so there you go. But yeah, so combat's like a yellow, red. Sorry, you can parry, dodge, what's the other thing? Block,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Parry, dodge, block,
that's so that's your main thing. And once you get used to that system, it's not quite as difficult. It's still fucking hard. And there's some bosses that really do savage you. Like there was two bosses in particular that took me a good 45 minutes to an hour each to beat. And one of them, the second one, that's when I was like, okay, I really got to fucking upgrade my shit. I got to go through. So I went through, I did a couple of side quests, and these are ones where you can go and hunt enemies in the, and they're very, very short, very simple. So you go to these towns, and one of the chiefs of the town might give you like, oh, there's a huge fucking centipede that's destroying our crops. Can you go fucking kill this centipede? So off you go. This is a new feature. And the one thing I don't like about this is that they split this. It's like a glorified boss fight, but they split it into 3 rounds, if you want to call it that. And each round, so you go to this area, you'll fight him, you'll get a third of his thing down, and then he'll take off to another location. You then got to fast travel or fucking get out of there, go to the new location, do another third, and he'll fuck off again to another location. It's just like, come on, man, just let me just fight this guy and just kill him, kind of thing. The biggest change from the first one is there's actually elemental powers, and stats in this game. So you have fire, ice, poison, and electricity attacks. You can spell cast, so you can do these spells that are linked to cooldowns, and all your weapons and armor have buffs and stuff linked to these powers. Now, cool in principle, but each enemy also has their own elemental powers, weaknesses, and stuff, which is again quite cool. And there's a bestiary, I think is how you say that, in your menu,
Yep.
and you can see which enemies' strengths and what are their weaknesses. Love that. It's really cool. It does mean the only thing is you do have to go in frequently, tinker with your loadout to be like, I need a sword that gives fire damage. I need a sword that gives ice damage. This shield's got to have poison damage. What I didn't love is when you went to some areas where you'd have a bat and you'd have like a fucking spider, for example. And, one might be prone to fire, but the other one's its strength is fire. So you're actually not getting enough damage. And it's just kind of like, you have to keep chopping and changing. Once you get to a certain level load throughout the game, you can just kind of, in most of these cases, if it's not a story fight, like it's not a fight that's linked to the story, you can just sort of roll past it and dodge past it. So that's one thing I didn't quite love.
It could definitely do.
James.
Sorry, it's just no. James, can
Adam,
wait.
you go.
No,
I think
go.
it could definitely do with like a quick change, or like being able to sort out a few different loadouts ready
like
to
a
go,
favorite?
so you can just kind of chop and change between them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed like super, because obviously I'm like an hour in, but I noticed very early on that it kind of just fucking throws loot at you constantly, and in like a bigger RPG that's 100 hours long or whatever, you kind of expect that, but for a slightly pared back, shorter experience, I don't want to be spending all of that time constantly going in and out of menus.
Correct.
So yeah, I agree. I think a quick change, like you can have a loadout for each different elemental type or whatever, would have helped.
Yeah, and that's I thought that, and then I was like, there is so much going on here that you couldn't really have. So, so an enemy might have a strength that is a weakness that is electricity and poison, right? And you might have a shield. Sorry, not a shield, a sword that gives a buff for electricity, but actually has a negative for poison, or vice versa.
Yeah, right.
So the enemy might have a strength that is ice. It gives ice and also has like a fire strength as well. Let's say that. So your shield might have plus 20 for ice, but actually negative 30 for fire. So you kind of really got to balance. There'd be and the amount of, again, like you said, with the amount of loot that you get, the amount of fucking around with the favorite, it would be so quickly void.
Yeah.
Which I think is also part of the problem, because there's so much loot and so many blueprints and shit you can get, that so much of it is just why are we here? Like, why do you have a blacksmith when you're getting loot in the world when you defeat a boss that is adequate enough? To be fair, towards the end of the game, I did actually start to favor the blacksmith. And it did get to a point later in the game, kind of closer to the end, where I was just like, you know what? My weapons are good enough. I can just pump through these enemies. Even though I'm doing lesser damage, I'm still skillful enough to get through it. I know I said I'd be brief, but we're kind of over a little bit. But that's essentially it. I really, really enjoyed this game. I scored it lower than the first, but I think it's better in most ways. It's such scores, eh? I gave it a 9, whereas the first one I gave a 9.5. I do think there are just that little bit like sequelitis, let's call it that. That's kind of crept in a little bit.
It's not new anymore. Yeah.
It's the God of War Ragnarok effect.
Correct. It's not new.
Well, I mean, that was also a...
Don't start.
Sorry.
And what they've added is good, but also still kind of has its little bits of flaws to it. It took me like maybe 15 hours or so. There's a whole bunch of side quests and stuff that you can do. And most of it's, pretty straightforward. Yeah. Yo.
Last question based on that concept then. Would you recommend the first one or the second one then? If I was to try one of these?
If you were to try it, I would say the second one. If I thought you were going to play both games all the way through, I would play the first one for story reasons first.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
and worth noting very very quickly, it's narrated by Doug Cockle, who voices Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher games. And so there's actually no voice acting in this game. It's all just narration. And I think it's very, very, very well done. It does make you feel like you're listening to an audiobook or you're playing an audiobook, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
His voice fits the theme as well, like very, very well. Dude's great.
Yeah. Go read the review. There's a bit more info in there, but long story short, awesome visuals, good solid combat, but some of the new ideas don't land probably as best as they should. But they're not bad ideas though. Yeah.
Just glad you finished it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could get through it, mate.
Thanks, mate. Well, once I started to upgrade and I got some health, I was fucking all good.
Engaged with
the turnaround story that you told us that was like stuck on this boss for like 45 minutes, did a quick change of equipment, fucking flattened him. It was very
mate. Well, because I knew his patterns so well. Like that guy
didn't have the damage output.
No, I didn't.
It's all right, mate.
Didn't.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
I know.
No, I'm glad that it lived up to the legacy of the first one because I know you're a big fan. So I'm glad to hear it.
And those,
Speaking of,
just very quickly before you,
perfect
segue. It was. But for those who do like the Tales of Iron series, just keep an eye on the YouTube channel over the next coming weeks.
Oh, we love a tease. We love a tease almost as much as Nathan enjoyed Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. We had a pretty lengthy chat with him last podcast, I want to believe, which was the preview. He's gone ahead and played probably another 150 hours. Let's be honest, it is Nathan. And he has come to a final score. Excerpt from that review is, this is more Kingdom Come Deliverance, just a bigger and better experience. Warhorse's second tour into the medieval Bohemia should be on your 2025 travel itinerary if you can survive it. He's whacked a similar, no, exactly the same score as you, Zachary, a big 9 out of 10. He loved it. Look, I played, half an hour of this game, and I already knew that Nathan was going to be fiending for it because it kicks your ass from pillar to post.
I'm keen.
Me too,
mate. You know what? I'm happy for both of you. It's not for me, but I'm happy for both of you. Something else that is not for me, but might be for someone else. Charlie Braithaway has reviewed Civilization 7 for us, saying, Sid Meier's Civilization 7 introduces some much-needed shake-ups to the formula with welcome changes. However, at times, it feels like something is missing. For fans of the long-running series, there's plenty to get excited about, and it's as addictive as ever. It's probably... also probably one of the more approachable entries for newcomers, which is handy. Overall, plenty to love now, and hopefully some changes to make certain aspects more lovable in the future. 8 out of 10. Bit of a divisive one, old Civ 7. I don't know if either of you have... Well, obviously, James, you've played it, but it seems to be that they've streamlined a whole bunch of shit to make it a bit easier for people to come on board. And obviously, it's the 7th game in a very long-running series, so it's bound to ruffle some feathers. But as someone who's never been able to properly get into a 4X style game, I think maybe some approachability might not be such a bad thing. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a lot of smoothed edges, which is really good. Like, it goes down easier for it, but you also slide off of it as easy. It's an odd balancing act. I personally don't think they fully got correct. Like, I like that game when it had a bit more bite and was a bit more annoying to engage with because it got my heckles up. It made me want to push back on the system. But yeah, like as someone who is relatively new to the series, I definitely found it. The onboarding is exceptional. It's really well done.
Good. It's the biggest barrier to entry I've had with any 4X that I've tried is you boot it up and you're like, all right, I'll start this. And you need to read a fucking novel before you even make your first move. So yeah, if they can make that easier, I'm still not going to fucking play it. But I mean, I think that's a good thing. But lads, those games, they're already out. They're done. Yesterday's news, they're gone. We like to look to the future here at well-played.com.au. Let's talk about our most anticipated games of 2025. We've got a few to rattle off. We'll do the old round table because that's fun. No one just likes to speak for 20 minutes straight. Zach Jackson.
Wow.
Tell us.
Speaking for 20 minutes straight.
Hey. Give us your first. It doesn't have to be in order, but give us one of your most anticipated games for 2025. Hit us.
So my first one, I do want to just give a quick shout, a very very quick shout out to Tales of Iron because that was probably in my top 5 of the year. So I'm glad that landed. But my first one is Slender Threads, which is a point and click game. Ooh,
course it
you're
is.
all
There it is.
surprised.
Yeah.
And this has a very cool art style. I
Yeah.
want to say like Burton-esque, but it kind of not. But I don't know how else to kind of explain it. So this is a game where you play as a like a traveling salesman, and you go to this town, this seaside town, and where there's been all these deaths, and you've essentially got to just like figure out like what's going on. Like I'll quickly go down. I'm just scrolling through the Steam now. In this point-click thriller adventure, guide Harvey through the peculiar streets, shops, and surroundings of Villa Ventana as he seeks to prevent his visions from becoming reality. Yeah, very very cool art
Sounds like a hoot.
style. Sounds like a hoot.
It does have a
keen.
cool art style,
Certainly.
though. I agree.
Yeah, it looks very cool.
Comes out February 7. Your boy has got the code, so
That's
look out
this
for
week.
the review on the site at some point.
You're really stretching. You're stretching the in the future most anticipated when it's sitting in your inbox. But I'll let it slide. If there's another one that's this week, we'll have to have
Yeah,
discussions. But
we've mate, we've got all night.
you've got this one you get away with. James, I'm hoping you've
Yeah.
maybe looked a little further into the future than 2 days'
Look,
time.
I think
What's your first game?
no game more clearly looks towards our future this year than Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Should we have connected? This is it. This is a game that asks the question. No, yeah, look, it's Death Stranding 2. Let's fucking go. Death Stranding is so esoteric and weird and off-putting, and the idea that he's gonna make another one that's even bigger and even more layers to do. Amazing. Like that's just it's ticking all the boxes so far. We still don't know, I think, a huge amount about the actual plot itself. But obviously we're picking up with Sam again. It seems like there's like physics to the world now, like landslides and floods and shit like that, which like if you were going to add anything to the formula of Death Stranding, a more reactive world is exactly the thing you would do with it. So yeah, that game is I'm going to be the worst version of myself about it. I cannot wait.
Look,
What if it
yes,
sucks?
It won't.
How are you gonna say that?
This is
Dan's got a good point.
No, sorry,
He's got a good point. Nah, it's very high on my list as well. I'm glad that you took it, so now I can talk about something else, something that is very far from Death Stranding 2. First one I'm going to mention is Ark Raiders. This game and I have been on a bit of a roller coaster. It got announced with a flashy cinematic trailer, and they said I was in. It looked really cool. You're fighting these like big machines with like a kind of old school looking weaponry.
And it's
then
got
they
like
said it's a PV.
like an 80s vibe, yeah.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, absolutely does. And then they're like, it's PvPvE. I'm like, you're losing me a little bit. But then I played a little game called The Finals and fell in love with just how excellent that felt to be boots on the ground. Like the gunplay is phenomenal. They do the really cool like server-based destruction bullshit that's really great. It's made by the same people. This is Embark Studios.
Thank you. That's I was like, okay.
I was like,
but,
okay, that's fine. Why?
I know that you love talking about the finals, but like, what?
But...
Hang on.
Hello.
Wait, is it made by the same people that made the finals?
Yes,
No.
it is. Embark Studios, exact
No.
same people. That's why I bring it up. You wouldn't believe it, but that is why I brought it
I
up.
don't believe it. Even if you prove it to me,
I
I'm not going to
know.
believe it. Old mate from EA, Peter SodaStream, whatever his name was, like, what's his fucking...
I think that is his government name. I'm going to get this back on track, I promise. They've changed it. It's kind of like more an extraction shooter, a la like Escape from Tarkov these days. But having seen the gameplay from it recently, it still is very much looking like my cup of tea. So yeah, I have enough faith from the finals in Embark to at least give it a cursory glance when it comes out. So I'm looking forward to getting hands on.
I'm keen
Zachary,
as well.
I
Well,
know you would
let's,
be, and it's mainly from vibes, I think, from your end. But hey,
Do
it is what it
love
is.
me some 80s vibes. And it's, I mean, it's got that little, the VHS kind of stripe, it's got like that little
Mm-hmm.
rainbow. I mean, how can you not?
Yeah,
How
it
can I
does.
not give it a little tickle?
Of
Um,
course you would.
well, while we're on the topic of multiplayer
Tickling?
games, tickling, I'm going to
Sure.
give a shout out to our good friend Nathan because I know that he would want this game to be mentioned. And all three of us have played together at the very least, I believe. Yes. So I'm going to mention Den of Wolves, the new game from
Yes,
10
sir.
Chambers, which is the they developed GTFO, which is the game I was referring to that we've all played and love. And yeah, so Den of Wolves is the new co-op heist game, set in like it's like the future, but not.
It's like a near future, right?
Yeah,
So they've got like a new technology, but it's still kind of based in reality.
yeah. And yeah, I just this is more PVE. Sorry, PVE. No, yeah, sorry, PVE.
Mhm.
Which that's what gets me. The PVE perfect. PvVP, PvP, no. You can take that and just do what you're gonna do with it. But no, PvE, I'm very, very excited. And they've the guy Simon Viklund, I think is his name, always does banger soundtrack. So I'm super, super keen to see how this plays. I mean, GTFO was great. I just hope it comes to consoles at some point.
Yeah, great. I thought it would be on consoles by now. It's wild that it's still PC exclusive, but yeah, I'm
Mm.
shit on PC. James,
Yo,
second cab off the rank. Give it to us.
we are returning to the wonderful mind of old mate Davey Rendon with Wonder Stop. So this is the Stanley Parable and Beginner's Guide guy. New studio called Ivy Road. He's also working with people who worked on Gone Home, Bioshock 2, but specifically the Minerva's Den DLC, which is really exciting, and Minecraft, just to throw in a real fun one. Wonder Stop seems to be tailor-made for my brain. This is a game that is seemingly interrogating the cozy game genre. It is a tea shop management sim, but there's something else behind it. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
someone's finally going to say something about maybe what's actually going on in this genre. So that's really exciting, really cool art style. But like this is one of those games that like the beginner's guide alone is the kind of experience that I had with a Rendon project that makes me want to follow them wherever they go next. So this could be anything, and I'd be excited. But that it's specifically this, I find very fascinating in a period of time where cozy has become what it's become, and especially with my feelings on it, obviously. So yeah.
There's one of those trailers that because it opens with from the creator of the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide, and then it cuts to like, and that builds intrigue, and then it cuts
Yeah.
to like just looking like a just
Mm.
straight cozy game, and I was like, no,
No.
something's up here though. It does. It looks
Yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
I'm changing pace because this is nothing like that game. But hey, Hell is Us is a game that
Fuck you.
apparently
That
has
was
been
one of
around
mine.
for. I knew it would be. Apparently, it's been around for longer than I thought, but it kind of was reintroduced in a fairly recent PlayStation State of Play, or like a showcase.
So it was. Mhm.
Yeah, it kind of
I mean,
just
behind the scenes
weird.
here, I was reading your everything announced at the Game Awards list for the past like 2 years, trying to find the name of that fucking game before the podcast. So, of course, it was a
Only for
PlayStation
me to
game.
sneak in and fucking steal it
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. But Zach
So
didn't remember. So,
it's a third person like action adventure game, but it has kind of the Death Stranding ish feels. It's got otherworldly enemies that don't have faces and all sorts of weird shits going on. And there's a developer deep dive that they talk about exploration in the game. Essentially, there's no maps, there's no waypoints or anything like that. If you've read my shit for a while, you know that I don't really like waypoints. It's using like contextual clues and directions and kind of landmarks to guide you. I think that sounds great. Might be irritating as fuck. I don't know, but the game looks really cool and it just looks different. And I'm always after different. So very, very, very much on my radar.
I
Zach,
think that was on. I think that was
what's
on
next?
all three of ours
Ah, for
on
sure. Yeah, yeah,
on our
yeah.
list.
Yeah,
mm,
it's
For
going to be a
me,
popular one.
I'm going to pivot a little bit again. I'm gonna go with a game. If I said to you, a first-person sci-fi horror set on an abandoned lunar base designed around an 80s vision of the future, what would you say to that, James? You'd roll your eyes.
Get
Of course you
fucked
would.
is what I would say to that.
Oh. Well, this is a game called Routine, which is was
Sounds a bit
Oh
routine.
yeah.
was like re-announced. I guess is probably the
Oh, that was a good joke. It was a good joke. You know it was. Continue.
So this was re-announced, I think, a couple of years ago now, one of the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest or something like that. But this is essentially a game from a developer called Lunar Software, and this game like vanished off the face of the earth for years. It had a release date and everything, and then just missed the release date. Oh yeah, no, we're sorry, we're just going through a few things. We'll have it out in a couple of months. Bang, not heard from in like 4 years, and then here we are. Doesn't have a date, like an actual 2025 date, but it's got to be fucking nearly close to release. But the game looks super cool. I do these first-person horror games. They either ship me or I love them. And this one, the vibes are kind of there. That I'm hoping it leans more on the good side. Yeah, so just don't want it to have like bullshit hide and seek stuff. So if it doesn't have that, then it's already on the right path. But yeah, it looks very, very cool, and the 80s aesthetic. Yeah, the 80s aesthetic it does get me a little bit jazzed up, if you know what I mean.
I don't remember the specific the showcase where it re-emerged, but I remember thinking that it looked really cool, and then you just popped out of nowhere, like you just come out of hibernation. You're like, no, 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 no. This game has existed for ages. I promise it's existed for ages. Like, yeah, okay, mate, sure. And lo and behold, you were right. So I should always
Also,
listen to you, I suppose.
Mick Gordon is doing the soundtrack for this.
He's got to do something now that he's ousted with
Banned.
Bethesda.
Yeah.
Good on him. You'll have to see it. James, do you have a Mick Gordon game for us, or have you got something else?
I don't, but I do have a curveball. I have decided that I am excited for the new Pokemon Legends ZR game.
That's not where I saw this going.
This is a
I
fucking
am
adult
ready to
podcast, mate.
love a Pokemon game again. I think it's time. Switch 2. Let's do a refresh. Let's start again. Let's forget about Sword and Shield. Let's forget about X and no.
We already
I can't even remember. Yeah. Absolutely, Adam. Yeah. So look, I'm ready for it. I liked Legends well enough. I think it was a good sort of proof of concept, that first one that they made. So the idea that they've returned to the board, that they've been given an extra year of development time, is unheard of for the Pokemon company. So hopefully, it's resulted in a game that's a bit more polished, a bit more interesting. Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's play some Pokemon.
I know the last one didn't flop commercially, but was it bad?
Oh, no, it was like one of the biggest successes they've ever had. It was just also a bad game.
All right, okay.
Two things can be true at once, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Mine is not Pokemon. Sorry, James. I am going with a bit of Remedy with FBC Firebreak. Because I've been feeling Remedy very much for the last, I don't know, probably a couple of years now. Since Alan Wake 2 came out, and I've kind of snowballed into wanting to play everything that Remedy's ever made. And they've decided they want to make a 3-player co-op first-person shooter round-based something or rather. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of their random ideas. It's the Federal Bureau of Control, FBC. It's in the name. It seems like it's kind of going to be I don't know, like a X-Files type, like we need you to take out this particular threat, and it's going to be some fucking weird thing that they've concocted. So whatever it is, I'm keen for it. I don't know what to expect from like a more competitive or like style first-person shooter from Remedy, because that's not really their bag, but fuck it. They've got enough goodwill from me. I'm happy that they can just do what they like.
I have a question for you about this game, actually. So I'm also deeply Remedy pilled, and I think that the jump from, also like the road that we've taken from Control to Alan Wake 2 especially, speaks to me of a studio that is like so far ahead of the competition with how refined they are in their cinematic sort of, and not cinematic quality. Like they are exceptional at what they do, and their mastery of tone is amazing. And then that trailer is firmly like a goofball shooter hero
Yep.
vibe, and I was really thrown by that initially. Like I am going to play this game because I agree with you. Enough good faith that I'm sure it's going to be great. But how
Mhm.
did you feel about the sort of leap to like, and here's a wacky gnome? Like I know that they've had comedy in their games before, but like this
Yeah.
feels very distinctly different.
I felt the same, but I also that was prior to me playing any of the DLC for Alan Wake 2. And I realized that
Mm,
they kind of have two different gears, of one gear being fully they're expanding their Remedy universe. So it's either Control or Alan Wake or Quantum Dream.
Quantum
I can
Break.
never remember.
Did
Quantum
James
Break. Fuck.
did you play Quantum Break?
no, I really want to.
I'm looking at it here
Yeah,
on
I'd also
Steam,
like to.
and the recent reviews are mostly like I gave the game a 9.5. I fucking love that game. I played
Oh,
the game
nice.
through twice, like
Damn.
because I wanted to see I just loved how they were like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna do something different and chuck in a TV show, like an actual TV show, in the middle of this game. See how it goes.
Hmm.
I thought it was quite cool. I thought the final boss sucked ass, but apart from that, I thought the game was really good.
I think I'll go back to it. I think I will once I
Please
get
do.
through Control. But yes, so they very much got that. But then playing through the Alan Wake 2 DLCs, particularly Night Springs, where they just
Hmm.
kind of let wacky shit happen. Like you can tell that there's that part of the studio where they do just want to do random kind of
Yeah.
kooky shit. And I think I'm happy for them to at least try it out. And if
Yeah.
it's with this third person or first person cooperative shooter, and if it doesn't, blow anyone's socks off, I don't think that matters. I prefer them test
Yeah.
the waters with this rather than fuck around with Alan Wake 3 or Control 2 and make those
Totally.
weird decisions. So yeah, I'm happy to see where it goes. Zach.
What's the shooter they did that sucked badly recently? The multiplayer one. They
I
did it with like
don't
they did it with like Tencent or someone.
know. Oh,
Oh.
shit! I forgot that they did that.
Me too.
You know the game.
Uh,
Anyway, you know what I'm thinking
I
of.
do know. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
know. They also did American Nightmare, Alan Wake American Nightmare, which was fucking terrible as well. So, it could be a miss. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, Zach Jackson, do you have another game for us?
Mate, I got plenty to keep you occupied all night, my friend. I'm gonna go with South of Midnight. So we've long been vocal of Xbox's lack of games and whatnot here, but I'm really digging the art style, this like claymation, stop motion-y style art style that they've got going on here. I really like it's a different setting. It's kind of it's the deep south with like some crazy animal shit going on. So I'm very keen to see how this plays because we've only seen I mean we've seen a little bit of gameplay footage, but how's it feel on the sticks kind of thing. So because Compulsion Games did We Happy Few, and I didn't love that. So, but it looks really really cool. I will also say, I'm looking at their Steam page now. They've got a early access version, like play it 5 days ahead of full release. Just fuck off with that, honestly. Anyway, it's on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass. Love it. I'm keen for it too, and I know James definitely is. But James, I don't want you to talk about South of Midnight. What else have you got?
I don't want to be a cliche, but I'm gonna do it. Ghost of Yotai. It's got to be on the list. That first game is really really wonderful. Having played through it, I think it was like last year. I did that maybe the year before, but like just really fell back in love with whatever they're trying to cook over there. And so the idea of like a time jump, a new samurai to play as, sort of this woman who's seemingly commanding wolves. Let's fucking go. I have utmost faith in this studio to deliver on like a fun open world game, and I think that the timing on this is going to be interesting. So yeah. There's not
I
much to
don't
say
know
about it.
what you mean.
It's one of the biggest games of the year. We all know what this is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, sucker punch. Like, no.
Do you think
Nah,
it definitely hits in 2025 or lands? Sorry, I should say.
I think so. Yeah, I think PlayStation needs an anchor game for the year, and I think that this year has been quiet for a very long time. So
I'm feeling that you have the opposite opinion, Zach.
I don't know. I'm not sold. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm more inclined to say yes. It's good, like because they need something. I think PlayStation need a big game to land because they have been pretty quiet for a while as a
Mhm.
company. Like I think, you know,
Mm.
the odd game here or there, but really there's been no, I think, tentpole kind of release for a while.
Yeah. What about that
Fair.
Metacritic average though?
What about
Oh,
that Metacritic average? We shall see, eh?
It will.
Uh,
my next one
yeah.
is very much against my usual bag, and it's Claire Obscure Expedition 33, the best name in the business that just must do wonders for their SEO. I haven't played to completion a turn-based RPG in a very long time. The last one that I can think of that I actually played was Dragon Quest Sentinels of the Starry Sky on DS, maybe. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know
Mm.
what it is about, whether it's the flashy visuals or Ben Starr's sexy voice or what the go is, but something about the trailers that they've shown for this game and the gameplay just, I don't know, something feels right about this one. It's got some old school aspects of like an overworld where you've got like a little chibi character and you move around. I think it's like Final Fantasy 7, 8. I'm not 100% sure, but it's got that kind of feel to it. It's got the kind of cooler looking UI and flashy combat that's kind of feeling a bit Persona. And its story and premise is just fucking cool. I don't know. I'm just, I'm very interested. And it's a debut game and does not look like what you would typically
No.
associate with the first game from a
It has
fledgling studio.
a confidence to it that I
It
am fascinated
certainly
by.
does.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And if it dies in the ass, unfortunate. But I don't know. It feels like it's got the sauce, and I hope it does.
Did
Yeah.
I read correctly? This is a budget game, and when I mean that, I mean the price is a lot lower than we.
Yes, I think it's $70 from memory because the
Okay.
pre-orders and shit went live not that long ago. I'll fact check myself, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you are correct in saying so. But while I'm looking that up, Zach,
I mean,
have you got another game?
we can't talk about games coming out in 2025 without talking about mixtape. Surely us all here are
Mm.
pretty keen for Beethoven and Dinosaur, our good friends from Melbourne's new game. This is the almost like a Don't Nod Life is Strangey kind of thing. It looks like where you play as three friends from high school, and there's a smashing soundtrack with all kinds of 80s bangers in there. And I'm very curious to see how Beethoven and Dinosaur go with a second game because obviously they had the Artful Escape, which was a banger, and they're probably going to go have a bit more budget, a bit more ambition with this one, a bit more gameplay maybe because obviously Artful Escape was very kind of not passive, but you know you just kind of scroll
Like a
to the
rhythm
right.
platformer
Yeah,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Almost. Yeah.
just move that way.
Yeah.
Whereas yeah, I'm keen to see what they can do with this one, which yeah looks really cool. So keen to check
I'm
that
such a
out.
sucker for like a coming of age story. Like I'm a big Breakfast Club fan, and it very much seems like that's what they're aiming for. So yeah, man, this one's hitting. And yeah, Artful Escape was such a sleeper hit. That game is
Mm.
fucking fantastic. So very keen, very keen. James,
Yeah.
no more
We've
Pokemon.
sort of
What do you got?
oh fuck off. We've landed on my sort of what do you call them? Like honorable mentions, I guess, for the list that I've created for this show.
Sure.
Your Holy and Virtuous Heretic is a little Australian game. Very excited for what's to come in the future for that game. Hopefully, and yeah, we talked about it many times on the podcast before, but yeah, it's like a dungeon crawler turn-based thing with a really weird lo-fi art style. It's ticking a lot of boxes. Local game, let's fucking go. And just really quickly, Phantom Blade Zero, another Souls-like with a cool mask guy in the trailer. That's all I ever really need. Speaking of which, Lies of P DLC is also this year. Not a full game,
Sick.
but I am adding it to my list. and Light No Fires from
Let's
the
do
No
it.
Man's Sky team.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am very
Hmm.
curious what that studio puts together next. I know that they've just never stopped working on No Man's Sky. But a title like Light No Fires immediately makes me think that they've taken the right lessons from the early time of No Man's Sky, which is isolation, lonely, fuck it up. I'm looking forward to it.
My favorite thing about the reveal that they did for that was they being Sean, what's his face, was like, I know we made lots of lofty promises and shit didn't go real well. We're sorry about that. And then he immediately went in to make more lofty promises. And I was like, let's fucking have it. Let's
Incredible.
go.
Yeah.
It's the confidence of that man is I mean, very well earned. That Hello Games has done unbelievable work with that. So no,
Absolutely.
I agree. I've got another couple to round us out. Zach, then you can send us home. The Altars is just strange. That's another one that's not my usual wheelhouse. Pun intended, I suppose. You're in a big wheel. But it's like a third person adventure game crossed with like base management
Yeah,
where
it's
you
weird,
clone
isn't it?
yourself. Yeah, like you clone yourself as, but they're like alternate versions of you that made different life choices and they become the crew on this big ever moving platform. I don't know, the game looks really really weird, and it's not something that I'd usually be into, but it's just kind of captured my attention. And the other one is Rematch, which is the soccer game from the guys who did Sifu, which is a really strange sentence. You take Sifu and you think, maybe they'll do another brawler, maybe they'll do a slightly bigger action adventure game. Nope, they just want to do a sport game that has kind of the same DNA. Fuck it, why not? I'm 100% on board for that as well.
It's just all about bodies moving, man.
That's it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, James. Very
Thank you,
eloquently put.
Adam. I agree. Thank you. Yeah, I try. I'm a
Speaking,
writer.
some fantastic work. Speaking of eloquent, though, the most eloquent man I know. Please send us home with a couple of honourable mentions.
All right, I got a small handful for you. So I'll just wheel off some quick names, but
Mm-hmm.
Holston is a game that I'm very, very excited for. James, I think we've spoken about it. You probably don't remember the name, but this is a game I
Is
think
this the car game?
you would no. I think you would fuck with hard. Like this is a psychological survival horror game set in an eerie, isolated 90s Polish town, and I played the demo. It looks fucking sick. It's like isometric, then it's behind the shoulder. It's got like it's like isometric, like Resident Evil / Silent Hill. It's just fucking looks great, and the devs are clearly taking their time to make this as good as they
Oh.
can. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks.
okay. All right.
And like I played the demo, and I was like, you know what? No. 10 minutes is enough for me. I want to wait for the full game because this is great. Quick shout out to fucking Mafia, the old country, because I'm curious to see how that goes. Adam Fall gets a nice little shout out because I'm curious to see how that goes. I don't think it's going to be great, but I love the setting though.
Totally,
What?
man. Yeah. Love
Oh,
the
no.
setting.
Just James's reactions always
Yeah, I
kill
know.
me because, like, you could tell he's Googled Holston and he's like, "Oh yeah, I fuck with this. This might be one of the rare games that brings Zach and I together, and we'll have a nice little moment." And then you mentioned Adam Fall, and all of that goodwill just disappeared.
The other one I got here is I'm quite keen with this. Is Dying Light the Beast. There's something about Dying Light in me that just I love to play it.
Destined to
Adam
do it
gives
forever.
me shit for my reactions to things. You mentioned Dying Like the Beast. Adam's eyes just like pop out of his head.
Because I think this from my memory, this is the original character.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm keen for that. And the very, very last one is a game called Nobody's Left, which is a Iranian developed Last of Us Red Dead 2 wannabe. Now,
Oh, okay.
it looks, it looks like it looks, right? It's going to have its limitations, going to have its flaws. We've been burnt by the day before, right? But this is not kind of in that.
I'm glad you said it.
It's not in that realm because there actually is there's some gameplay stuff out. I'm very curious to see how it comes out. I'm just, yeah. So
There was
Yeah.
gameplay of What was it called?
Y-
Day before?
No, but
Yeah.
sorry. When
Never
when I
forget.
say gameplay, this has actually been sent to like streamers and stuff, and they've played demos and
Oh,
yeah.
uploaded footage and stuff. So
is this the
uh,
one where like the guy is in front of a barn and he's shooting?
maybe, and the
Yeah.
voice acting is fucking horrendous.
Oh, it's so good.
And the guy's
It's
hat's
so
massive. It's like fucking Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat with in like. Anyway,
looks
I'll-
great. Looks great.
it looks like a game I would play, and
Yep.
yeah, that's yeah. Anyway,
Take from that what you will, dear viewer, that it looks like a game that Zach Jackson would play. But hey, that's a good collection of games. 2025's looking all right, boys. It's looking okay. Maybe it doesn't have the big tentpole. Oh, it might have GTA 6. Who knows?
Oh
Probably
yeah,
not.
right. Is anyone feeling
Yeah,
that?
I'm very keen
play
to
it.
play that. Yeah, I love.
Yeah.
I love the idea of what they're going for. Again, I think it's that the 80s is coming back, man. It's in everything. It's in fucking everything.
I think the 80s
Um,
ever left, Zach.
No, but like I
Might
feel
be,
like it's
might be the problem.
but I feel
Yeah,
like it's a lot more like it's a lot more prominent now than when it was.
Mm.
Yeah.
Back in vogue.
Yeah,
It's
and
Who
GTA
else
6
is
is weird.
oh,
Please, James. Please.
I was
Please.
gonna say I'll tell you what else is becoming a bit more prominent is Xbox games on the PlayStation 5.
Hit the news. Go on, you little scamp.
I thought that was too good. I couldn't not pick it up and run with it. This is the problem with the three of us rotating hosting, is that now we're turning into like little dogs about it. It's good. It's good. I like it. It's good energy. Forza Horizon 5 coming to the PS5 sometime in autumn. As Adam has written here in the news. I don't know, it's Forza, but on PlayStation. Correct? Correct take. This obviously is a part of a wider trend that we're seeing with Xbox at the moment, where Indiana Jones is coming. There's leaks that the Gears of War collection is going to be coming to the PlayStation 5 at some point, and that there are just going to be major titles moving forward that are Xbox that are also going to be coming out on the PlayStation 5. I'm thrilled about this. One of my predictions for the year is that they do just finally embrace third-party publishing. I think it's would be really healthy for the industry because there's also just a fuckload of stuff that Xbox makes I would like to play on the console that I own. So give me Halo. Once they put Halo on a PS5, game over.
We're done. I think Forza's a really funny one, right? Because it's not a tentpole series. It's not like a Gears. It's not a Halo. It's not quite to that caliber. But it is the direct kind of competitor to Sony's Gran Turismo series. So it does feel like a bigger step in the direction to what you're talking about, to where all of Xbox's catalog starts coming over to PlayStation. So it's definitely a move in that direction, I think.
So I agree but disagree. I think Forza is a tentpole series. I think it's their
Sales wise, you're probably right.
it's their racing game. I mean, well, this is Forza. There's Motorsport isn't there, so maybe Motorsport's probably Motorsport's probably more along the Gran Turismo ship. But the Forza brand, I guess, is that's their racing jam. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest. As much as I thought they would go third party, I never thought that we would see Forza Gears or your Halo on. I thought they would be your legacy titles that they just kind of they're the thing that people come back to. But now you can just go and fucking play whatever on a PS5. Who gives a shit?
Well, as I always say, there's no point in having a nice car without a road to drive it on. Or whatever. The road is an Xbox. Nobody's buying an Xbox, so there's no road. But the car is still nice. So you got to put it on another road. We're getting there.
Maybe pump the brakes on that one and let's do a U-turn and do some other.
Fuck off. Xbox and PlayStation though. Talking about let's get ready to rumble.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that was labored.
WWE 2K25. I was going to throw this to Adam because clearly he understands this news story much better than I do, but I've decided, fuck it. This is going to be releasing on March 14th. We are integrating matches. Get excited.
That'd be intergender.
Yep.
Intergender matches is the word that we've put in the doc there. I'm glad. I am glad we're integrating wrestling in a wrestling game though. That is really good.
Jesus.
Oh shit. Chain wrestling is back, boys. How do we feel about
Chain.
this?
What's chain wrestling?
They pull out a chain and whip each other.
That can't be just what
Jesus
it is.
fucking Christ. I'd love to commandeer this, but I'm having way too much fun watching you do it. No, it's like the mat wrestling, right? So like the reversals on the mat, and so it's less of just like throw move, throw another move. It's like you grapple and then you kind of jockey for position and all of
James,
that jazz.
carry on. It's boring me now.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what is exciting though? We're going to go to the island, featuring some interactive mumbo jumbo. Not my words. I'm not taking responsibility for that one. We're also getting a showcase mode that will focus on the Bloodline. I don't know how much like the Bloodline really matters to WWE 2K 2025 fans. So you know, I think this is really fucking exciting to see. I can't wait to get in there. You know, Vince Mahoney, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Who's on the cover, James?
That's Matt Wrestling.
Mat wrestling, though, to be fair, is such a fucking excellent name for a wrestler.
Is
That would be excellent.
Is
Go on.
who's that bloody fucking
John Cena.
no, who's the boxing brother? Fuck, I've forgotten his name.
Logan Paul.
That's the one. Fuck, I couldn't remember his first name.
He's in
Is
the
he-
game.
Oh, of course.
Oh, is he?
Fucking is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. He was their United States champion for a good few
What?
months, so he's absolutely in the game.
WWE
Yep.
is ass now, man. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
No, WWE is probably better than it has been since the late '90s. It's wild.
Is
It's a
that when
wild time we
they
live in.
threw that fucking YouTuber into the Royal Rumble? I saw it on social media.
He got killed. I Show Speed is who you're referring to. He got speared, and it
Never
looked
heard
like
of him.
he died. Yeah, I don't know. It's a guy.
But
But
this
Roman
can't
Reigns
be
is on the
this,
cover.
this can't be what
Mm.
we're going for now. You can't just be throwing in any old bum to fucking wrestle.
WWE is hotter than it has been since the Attitude Era, brother.
You're cooked. Vince is cooked. He's not even there, but Stephanie's cooked.
Mm.
We don't talk about Vince. Anyway, James, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other news.
Yeah, speaking of stuff actually we don't want to talk about, probably should have planned this doc a bit better because I feel like pivoting from whatever that was into what's next is bad.
Whiplash.
Yeah. So layoffs are back in BioWare form. It seems like what was it? Dragon Age Inquisition sold 1.5 million units or something like that, which was dramatically under what EA had expected or wanted for the game. And as a result, the sort of like core Mass Effect, the core BioWare team has been disbanded and sort of put out across other studios within the EA family. Some of them have lost their jobs as well, obviously. And now Mass Effect 5 is in the hands of a very small core unit of developers who have worked on Mass Effect before, but have also said the game is at a point where it doesn't need the support of a full studio, which makes me think that we are 5 years out from the next Mass Effect game minimum, because BioWare as we know it is kind of not anymore. As just, it's really sad to see such a storied and historied sort of studio succumb to so many problems over the years. And I know that like what I loved about Mass Effect isn't necessarily even the team that's here anymore, but it just sucks. It sucks that we had one of the greats, and now they are this.
It's
Yeah, it's rough. Sorry, Zach, you go for it.
no, you go. You go first, please. I insist.
Or yeah, it's always unfortunate when they kind of hedge their bets, right? It was after Anthem, and they needed a return to form with what was it? What did it end up being called? Veilguard, and it's rough when I think the initial kind of rumbles is that BioWare's back. Like Veilguard's fantastic. It's a great time. And then it got into the hands of the general masses, and I think it took a really, really hard left turn. And it's just unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen them get back to the days of old, because I also love Mass Effect, and I had hopes that, we wouldn't have another Andromeda, and Mass Effect 4 is going to be more of Mass Effect 2 and 3, but yeah, it's just looking less and less likely that when we finally do see Mass Effect show up again, that it's going to be anything like we remember it, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I've never played Dragon Age, right? But 1.5 million sounds like fucking peanuts. Like,
Yeah.
for a game that is massive.
Yeah.
Like you think about how many PS5s are out there, how many Xboxes, how many how many fucking PCs are out there. Like to only sell
Yeah.
1.5. And I want to ask a question to you lads. EA obviously does EA Play or whatever, EA Origin or whatever it might be. Are we on the
Originals?
same?
Yep.
No.
We are. I just
Oh,
wanted
yeah,
to
yes, right.
flag, but before you ask your question, I feel like it's worth flagging that in the statement about that 1.5 million, it's not units sold, it's
Sure.
1.5 million
Sorry.
players engaged.
Yeah, sorry.
And
sorry.
so I think that's going to drive at maybe what you're talking about here.
Yeah,
I just wonder if this is the kind of thing that just, like we talk about, just these subscription services not limiting, but hurting just the
Yep.
appeal of games. I also do think, and again, I've never played Dragon Age, so I've got no affiliation with the series whatsoever. But given the flops of Anthem and Andromeda, was this the right move to make such a stylized choice on a beloved series? Like, I'm all for like, taking risks and stuff like this, but should this have been a Dragon Age game? Do you know what I mean? Like, should they have played it safe? Not, should they have played it safe, basically? And that's, I feel bad for saying that because in some way we're saying that, they're catering to the crowd or whatever. But at the end of the day, they've made a game, from what it sounds like, that people just don't want to play.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of my Dragon Age fan friends seem to like this thing as a continuation of the overarching story of Dragon Age. I think they seem relatively happy. But the game itself, maybe not less so much. And then you get broader and broader out with those circles, and it just seems like it was a bit of a like, I don't know, maybe like a totally fine 6 to 7 out of 10 action RPG, but that's not what people come to BioWare for. So it's
Okay.
There's no clean transition. Sorry, it just sucks to talk about one game not selling well into another one selling really well. But Bloober Team's Silent Hill 2 remake has sold 2 million copies, which is kind of remarkable for a Bloober Team developed Silent Hill 2 remake. It's a weird, esoteric, very adult survival horror game, and it's done really well. They seem chuffed. Just a nice feel-good story. So.
I do appreciate that Bloober has taken obviously Silent Hill 2 is a massive established name and brand, and they kind of just were, they could have continued on with that and done another Silent Hill game, or revived. I know it's probably not all their decisions to pick up IPs wherever they like, but the fact that they've off the back of this gone straight into an original game with, I think it's Kronos, I think is what it's called. I think that's great to use the momentum that they built with this big established brand and then move into their own IP again and be like, all right, we've proven that we aren't shit. Let's give you something that we built from the ground up. I just think that's cool. So good for them. Good for Bloober.
Yeah, I agree. I love a redemption arc for creators. So yeah. My off topic might actually be about that very thing. So
Sweet Jesus, what a little taste of what's to come. Before we get there, though, James, a friend of ours, a friend of both yours and mine, Zachary Jackson, has a 2000s film of the week for us. And I reckon if we cut to him, I'm trying to stall because I figured he wasn't ready.
No, mate.
Do you have the blurb ready? Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
It's been up since before we recorded, mate.
Oh, look at you go.
I know. Some would say I'm too good to you. Well, there's two things. I'm going to go with this one. This is the IMDb one because I reckon it's better. All right. In the godforsaken district of early 1860s Lower Manhattan, known as the Five Points, the vicious nativist Bill the Butcher Cutting is the supreme overlord of an area riddled with crime, prostitution, theft, and murder, as the American Civil War still rages on. 16 whole years after the brutal murder of his father from Bill's blood-stained hands, an orphaned Irish-American, Amsterdam Vallon, I think that's how you would say that, returns to this melting pot of corruption to avenge his untimely death.
It's a good film. It's Gangs of New York.
Bang. Good man. The reason why I picked that is I haven't watched this film in a very, very long time, and I'm going to make Anna watch it very, very soon. We were going to watch it on the weekend, but we didn't get to
How
it.
do you feel she's gonna like it? What do you think your chances are with Gangs of New York? Not saying she's a tough critic, but she's a tough critic.
I'll tell you what. I think we'll know early on whether we've
Yes.
whether we've changed course, and gone with something else. I think.
I mean, you can't beat fucking Liam Neeson, a man of the cloth, getting his knuckles dirty. Fucking what a time.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I'll
say
give it a rewatch.
I think we'll like it. I think we'll be. Yeah, I got faith.
It's watch this space. I cannot wait for next week when we come together, same time, same day, and you to be like, "Fuck, she hated it. She said it was bum." I'll be waiting.
Right, you can watch that on fuck, I didn't check that. Prime, I think, sorry. Or might be Netflix.
Rhyme?
The fuck is Rhyme?
Prime.
Oh,
Oh, Prime.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't catch that either,
this is saying it's on Amazon Prime, but I feel like it's on Netflix. So I feel like I checked Netflix. So there you go.
We're just vibe basing where you can watch movies now.
it
This is
feels like a Netflix thing.
You can you can definitely watch it on Netflix, 100%. But this article on Google might be a little bit old, but you can 100% watch it on Netflix. I know that, but it might be on Prime and a bunch of others like Disney and shit.
Yeah.
But
do you know what I like about our 2000s film of the week spreadsheet? Right, so we got Gangs
That
of
it
New
exists.
York. Well, I do
Yeah.
love that it exists. Gangs of New York, Master and Commander, Munich, Spy Kids. Just very indicative, I think, of how we are as a group. So
the standout for me up until this point is still Passion of the Christ. That
is a good
really
pull.
that took me by surprise. Holy shit!
and the way that he delivered that too was just
it was unbelievable. No notes for the man. James, we're talking movies. Do you have some off topics for us before we go to bed?
I went and saw a movie today, and I am jazzed. Have you boys seen The Greatest Showman?
No.
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay. It is a musical. Hugh Jackman plays a quasi real life figure who had like a show of people with abnormalities, and he sold tickets and yada yada. I thought it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I hated it. I watched it semi recently. Just god awful. And I thought this director's a total hack. There's no way he could ever make anything good. I also thought the pitch of what if we made a musical biopic about Robbie Williams where he's played by a CGI monkey was dog shit. I was like, no, this is trash. We don't need this. And then I saw it, and it is one of the best movies I've seen of 2024. It is broken into my Letterboxd top 10 for the year. I laughed, I cried, I cheered. It was fucking phenomenal.
I have heard that. Everyone I've seen that's actually seen it has said it's fantastic.
Yes, you just need to overcome the hurdle of actually getting into the cinema, which is difficult because it's leaving Australian cinemas this week. This thing has underperformed really badly, like a real bomb. And I was previously happy about that. I was like, yeah, fuck that director. But now that I've seen it, I've let the culture down. I could have been suggesting this movie for weeks.
I didn't actually. Just on the topic of Robbie Williams, I didn't realize he wasn't big in the US. That was news to me.
I didn't know that either.
He never broke into that market at all.
Yeah, which I think is half the reason why the film is.
I guess maybe it's underperforming. Yeah. But look, he is all over this movie. Executive producer. I think he had a hand in writing it. He does the voice for the monkey as well, and he delivers an incredible performance.
He's a good man, I reckon.
Yeah, he seems like he's a guy.
Good blues man.
So I've seen the trailer, and he does the whole shout at the crowd, and he's like, "For the next 3 hours, your ass is mine." That energy doesn't match his music.
Mate, that moment.
What's he gonna launch into?
It's the "Let Me Entertain You" song.
Kids with Big Carly, mate.
That song gets a really fun shout out in this movie.
We love shout outs.
We do. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Better Man. Go and see it if you still have the opportunity to see it. I am not joking. This is not James being a contrarian. This is actually a really fucking good movie. I'm sad that it's maybe not connected with people the way that it should. Didn't connect with me until now. So
Mm.
Not what
Yeah.
I expected you to say.
No, not at
even
all.
No,
Slightly.
neither did I.
I love shaking it up a bit.
Mm.
Don't you just?
Well, I'll shake it up a
Yeah.
bit for you. I went and saw Baby Girl.
Oh fuck yeah! All right, and
I mean, it's basically Nicole Kidman getting her rocks off for 2 hours, like I said to you.
I
Adam.
was like, there's
yes.
no way he describes it the same way he described it to me, but lo and behold, here we are.
It was fine.
yeah,
I found it a little bit dumb, but I think a lot of Anna had a good time. So
yeah. I think that movie is really close to something really good. Instead, it just settles for being like, it's okay. Like I love Nicole Kidman in it. She's always kind of wonderful, and I think the core concept of like a woman of her age getting to be featured so heavily in such a sexual context is excellent.
There's definitely
it's
some
just-
cool parts, yeah.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I love scenes. I just thought the whole thing was a bit.
Oh, so you've seen it?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was too. I thought one of it was. I thought it was a bit too long. I thought it did drag
Absolutely.
on. Yeah, I thought
It does.
I was like, "Fucking, just end now." Like,
Yeah.
and I thought the ending was very strange, like with the guy.
Yeah. Like the imagined.
Well, both of them.
Oh
The,
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that stuff
the
was a
actual-
bit wobbly.
The last
Yes,
scene,
I'm
but
with you.
also the other stuff.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
um,
But that club scene, great shit.
cool scene.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Other than that, I started watching a TV show on Netflix called The Madness, which is I don't remember what it's the actor's name, but it's basically about a African American political pundit who is framed for murder. I think it's the guy that plays Alex Cross, but don't hold me to that because I haven't fact checked that, but I feel like he's the guy that plays. If you've seen that film, it's okay so far. It's okay, and I watched The Breakthrough, which is a really interesting Swedish show, where it's based on a true story of an unsolved murder for 16 years until they hired this like genealogist, and then so it's like based on a book about that whole thing, which is the show itself is but the actual story of what goes on is kind of interesting and how they actually end up solving it.
Interesting. I've had a mixed bag in the movie department. Key and I went and saw Conclave, which I really, really enjoyed. For those who aren't aware, it's Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, all playing cardinals, getting together to elect a new pope because the old one carked it. And it's literally just them and their interpersonal issues and just chewing up dialogue for 2 hours. Fuck, I had a great old time. Thought it was a really solid stuff. So then I got home, got sick, and decided to watch both of the new Ghostbusters films, being Afterlife and Frozen Empire. Fucking terrible, both of them. Should have stopped at Afterlife, but I was like, it's a half-done job.
You're already here now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I best watch the other one. But also in my sickness, I watched Green Book, which I hadn't seen, which is genuinely really good. Which is Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very, very good film. But I think it won an Oscar, so I'm probably not telling you anything you haven't heard. But yeah, that's been me for off topics. Anything you reading, enjoying, or are you ready to?
Second book of the Ship of Magic trilogy, which is the second trilogy of Robin Hobbs that I've done now. Mwah. Still amazing, still great. We'll check in once it's done. And I started Star Trek Strange New World, or whatever it's called. Surprisingly, having a fucking tremendous time. So,
Are you still watching Gundam?
Yeah, Yep, I'm up to Gundam Double Zeta now. Zeta's ending, by the way, was fucking harrowing. Truly harrowing. Like you don't think that this fucking little shitty robot anime from the 80s is gonna fuck you up, and yet there you are having a cry at 11 p.m.
Where where are we as far as like when it was released? Because Zeta was in the
Um,
80s.
Yeah, this is also the 80s. Double Zeta or Double Z or whatever it is the third of the trilogy of the original creators, and then after this, the timeline starts splintering and things get wacky. So yeah, I'm almost done with the first true run of Gundam.
I love it. I love it. You just a surprise every week, James. I love
Love
it.
it. You should see my letterboxd. I have been watching so many
Sounds like a
movies in
mess.
preparations for the Oscar. No, fuck off. I have great taste. Let's go home.
Don't we all have great taste? If you want to read any of our content, reviews, previews, all of that jazz, you can hit us up at well-played.com.au. Don't get rid of the hyphen. You don't want golf clubs. We're on a whole bunch of socials. Head on over to our YouTube's wellplayed_au. We're well played pretty much everywhere else apart from Twitter, which is wellplayed_au as well. Lads, thank you very much. What a fun episode. Everyone else, enjoy your week, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Gotcha.